We tackle match fixing and competition manipulation. I can tell you the stories.
Many athletes were given passports.
It is a common practice. Have you ever seen a Japanese person with an American surname? I went into the army. Honestly, worst decision of my life.
Do you consider yourself lucky or unlucky that you were born in Malta?
Wow, perfect.
Welcome back to another Champions Connect podcast, and today I'm here with Andy Grech. Andy Grech was once my PE teacher, now a leader who's seen sports as an athlete, educator, president, and reformer. From classrooms to national athletics, few have lived the system from so many different angles. Andy, thank you for coming.
My pleasure. I am probably one of your biggest fans. I love what you're doing. I love who you're bringing on. I love the topics you're discussing. And finally, you've brought on an administrator, which I've been begging you to do.
So I'm looking at you, and I'm looking back at my life as well. As a young student, used to teach me and shout at me and be a very good guide, to be honest, like with everything that comes to sports, mentally, physically. So I thank you for coming. Let's open up with your talent. Okay, we have a very good talents in different parts and sectors of sports, and you struck an injury.
I'm not going to go too much in my history because it is partly relevant, but I'm not going to go too much into it. But basically, I've been brought up in sports, as in again, to refer back to Gilbert Ajus. Like him, sport is the only thing I know how to do, and I practiced gymnastics when I was very young, and I moved on to athletics. I think the reason why I love sports so much is because I was constantly surrounded by it. My parents are absolutely in love with all kinds of sport. I went to a secondary school where my PE teachers constantly encouraged sport. So sport is, again, the only thing that I know how to do.
What was the injury, if I may ask?
No, the injury basically was my knee, my left knee, my jumping leg.
I come across many situations like what happened to you. Okay, it happens, it's sport, it's life, it's a situation. But some come into something or a situation that is because of the help they lack.
No, from when I was a practicing athlete, so we're saying I had my injury around the summer of 2013, if I'm not
How old
mistaken.
are you, if I may ask?
23.
Okay.
23, yes.
ما تشيبريوت تقعد تكلمها رايدك اي داربوها دقة تسيق بس هانا سايتينج كيف توصل توار قعدوا اليوم deċidejt nipprova l-pajjiż. Mistoqsija li nagħmlu l-kull atleta dejjem. Kemm ilek tipprepara dal-event int?
We had come back from a number of very good seasons. So, as you know, I don't want to brag or anything, but at a certain point in time, I think I was around 1920, I was a semi-professional athlete for an English club. And I was ranked second in the UK. So we had a very good couple of seasons. In 2012, we wanted to take it to the next level, and the next level for us is either World Championships or European World Championships, and obviously the Olympics. And since there was the London 2012 Games, me and my coach decided to focus more on sprinting, since I was a jumper. And I could sprint as well. So we came up with the idea, and this is crazy, not many people know about this, to join the army.
Okay.
So I joined the army thinking that it was the first time the Maltese government came up with the idea to put athletes / soldiers in there. I had just graduated as a teacher as well. So I went into the army. Honestly, probably worst decision of my life.
Yes.
It was horrible. We didn't go through the recruitment training, so we were two fish out of the water. Where me and another judoka. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Why though? Is it mentally, physically?
No, physically definitely not. But since we didn't go through the recruitment training, we weren't what they call broken in. So we didn't know the right protocol. So if I walk by someone who I didn't know.
Ooh.
Sorry. I'm in airplane mode. You didn't know about that I was in the army.
No, never in a million years.
Yeah, but I want to make a point, so I'll keep it short. Now,
My
we're-
bad, sorry. I want
if
to keep
we're-
that in the episode.
Huh?
I want to keep that in the episode.
You're gonna keep it in the episode. Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Basically, since we weren't broken in, as they say. If we had to see any kind of official walking by and we don't salute or we'll get completely smashed.
Oh,
We'll get
no.
told off and anyway and
When you say smashed, what was the?
no, there was no
consequence?
physical abuse or anything.
what
No,
was
but
the-
we'll get shouted at, properly shouted at in our faces. Really, no, it was. I'll just talk about one situation, one story, because I know you like stories. On the final day, the final reckoning of my qualification to the games, my sergeant, who I still love and still speak to, and we have a very good relationship to this very day, asked me what I want to do today because it was such an important competition. And anyway, I started ironing clothes, and yeah, that's how I used to spend my day. But for some reason, they found out that today was a very important day because I had asked for 2 hours leave. And they came to ask me what happened, why am I taking 2 hours leave, because there's lots of processes. Anyway, and on the day that I was meant to be competing for my place at the Olympic Games, I had to clean the entire gym wooden parquet, spotless, on my feet.
No.
So you can imagine how that competition went. I came second, I didn't go, I was destroyed. Yeah, so. But again, and we'll talk about this later on in the show for sure, that when I know the purpose why the government came up with this army sort of idea. It's because the Italians have a very, very, very similar concept. We tried to mimic, to copy this process without doing our due diligence. That basically Malta and unfortunately the armed forces of Malta were not accustomed or were not used to sports and people, in their opinion, slacking off to do sports.
You struck me, because imagine you've been working for something almost you can say not your whole life, but
Yeah, no,
it's
listen,
a goal. It's a goal.
Listen, all athletes, really, I'm talking about athletics now, but everyone that doesn't practice maybe football wants to go to the Olympics. That is the ultimate dream. The Olympics are the ultimate dream.
Wow. So it's a very good story that I don't think you mentioned anywhere, to be honest. You never spoke to us about it.
No.
Is it something you want to hide from people, though?
Yes, because I'm not proud that it failed after 20 weeks, because then again, after 20 weeks, I left. But no, because it is a story in itself that we should be learning from. When I say we, I mean the sporting community.
I think it's so many stories that happen that there are these situations where you're working for something and then everything collapses last second.
Yeah, I've
So you learn a lot from these situations.
yes, definitely.
Do you think sports, after the injury, do
Okay.
you think sports was over for you?
I'll always remember a particular comment, which for me ended my career. And I was thinking about it in the car, and I still get emotional speaking about it. There was a particular person, I don't remember who it was, but he was part of the team that we were doing the operation on. And he said, Andy, you will never be the same athlete that you have been. You have, everything is going to change for you now. And even now I think about it and I get goosebumps. From then on, it's like a switch in my head that like your career is over.
How do you handle that? So
I
when
went into other things.
when you left the clinic that day,
No, it was shit too. I felt shit. But I'm the kind of person that when I have bad news or this is devastating news, sort of I focus my attention on something else. I don't know where it came from, honestly, but that is where, and then my idea came along to sort of focus more on academics. Don't forget, all my life, I just got by. So I would never, or I would read books because my mom would make me, but I would never study on my own. So my O levels I got by, except PE, where I got a 1 and I was really happy about it. But again, A levels never really took so much never really focused on it. So then I said, listen, I don't have many options. What am I going to stay doing with my free time? I don't know what I'm going to do in the evenings now. So I went into academia. Another story, which this I never mentioned again. When I was leaving, when I did my A levels, I was looking for different opportunities abroad. I am obsessed with countries abroad. I always wanted to live abroad, and I found this course because I draw as well. I have art A level, so I've been drawing all my life. Now I stopped, obviously. But when I was 18, I found this particular course in Sheffield. Basically, it's content design, like creation of shoes and all this and design, and I was obsessed with it. But my girlfriend of the time didn't want me to go, so I didn't go. Because that is another thing, another passion of mine. But again, sport again in Malta is really limited, so you have absolutely no options. So I went into teaching. That's it.
You said a very important point that you were obsessed to
I
go
still am.
abroad.
Still am.
And you mentioned to me last time, we had a coffee last time, and you mentioned that if you had no family whatsoever, you'd been long gone.
I definitely want to leave, and I think over time, the more me and my wife travel with our kids, the more we realize that there are so many more options and so many more opportunities abroad and green spaces and.
What's the why though?
The why?
What's the why? Since you were young, is it lack of opportunity here?
Yes, and apart from that, it is that I personally feel a little bit claustrophobic on the island, and now even more with the amount of people that have come onto the island. I feel very claustrophobic, and it's not. I don't have a problem with claustrophobia. I don't go and get into a lift and I feel annoyed or anything of the sort. But the more people, there is more competition.
Which
but
is good,
the competition is not there. You
Mm.
understand what I mean? And somehow it's just.
Do you think it's overpopulation situation?
If, for example, an architect, an engineer sort of loses his job, I think he can easily find another one. But in terms of sports, there are no options whatsoever. And this is something that we should be speaking about.
Yeah, there are many, like for example, national team, if the GSSCs, for example,
Games of the small
they were
states
given
of Europe.
many athletes were given passports.
Yeah. We're skipping a little bit in the story, but these guys don't live in Malta.
Go back.
Okay. It is a common practice. I've been watching the World Championships, Athletics World Championships currently going on in Tokyo right now. And one thing I realized is that so many countries have athletes that are definitely imported.
And how do you notice?
Oh, the surname. Oh.
Okay.
All right. Have you ever seen a Japanese person with an American surname? Or
Okay.
yeah. Again, Malta, basically, the Games of the Small States of Europe have been being organized, if I'm not mistaken, in the 80s, late 80s. And the rules haven't changed since then. And the Games of the Small States of Europe, basically, they're for countries, 9 countries before they were 8, but 9 countries that are under the 1 million population mark. In the 80s, there weren't many people living in those countries. They came up with a rule that if you are a resident in the country, you can compete for that country. Now, if you are a resident in 2023 and 25 on the island, you can compete. So, for example, I'm an athlete, I'm an accountant here, and I've been here for 3 years. I can compete for the Maltese athletics team.
Isn't it 5 years?
No, but this is to compete at Games of Small States of Europe.
Okay.
Could be 5, I'm not sure. But anyway, you have to spend an amount of years here. These guys were competing, but there was a situation where there were certain sports that were lacking in ability. This is something that's done across all 9 countries, but apparently in Malta it was very in your face. Basically, other countries caught wind of it. So Luxembourg caught wind of it, and there was media outrage. They were on local news portals in Luxembourg as well.
Criticism-wise?
Definitely criticism-wise, because they called us sort of
Cheaters.
unsportsmanlike, cheaters. So these guys had absolutely nothing to do with Malta.
Quick question, because I don't really understand the situation. I'm going to ask you, so
Yep.
you can answer back. Don't you think, so we're a very lovely island. We have our capabilities.
Yes.
We have a very strong capital in a way. But I believe that we are skipping a huge part. So instead of importing athletes, why can't we build them?
And I think that is where athletes sort of take it very personally. Imagine you've been training your entire life, struggling with the lack of facilities that we have, the lack of coaching that we have, and then all of a sudden you bring a foreigner who's been training in world-class facilities. You know, it hurts. And we have to be mindful of the athlete. And in my opinion, it is something that we really need to focus on, which is, and we can go into it as well if you want,
Yeah.
an athlete's commission, basically the voice of an athlete and what an athlete goes through and the decisions that administrators need to take based on the athlete. So everything is athlete-centered. The way funding is given, when it is given, a million and one different things. But athletes need to be the center and the core of absolutely everything.
How does passports work with regards to giving out a passport?
Again, I'm not one to speak about it, but in terms of sports, there is you can be given a passport through sporting merit. So your ability in sports, or if I'm not mistaken, you're a coach, but I'm not the person that you should be asking.
Is it fair?
Is it fair? Depends on what side of the table you're on.
Let's speak on all sports now. Let's not focus on one. Let's speak in general. Do
Okay.
you think it's fair?
No, it depends on what side of the table you're on. If you are an athlete, definitely not. If you are an administrator that obviously
Wants to win in a way.
wants to win, yes.
It's not the word,
but when I was in that situation, I didn't want it. I was completely against it, and we had issues with the people in charge about it. But again, then if you are a policymaker, so the guys that are obviously making the policies and the laws and at ministry level, and you are given funding and you need to act on those funds, so medal-wise or accolade-wise, then that is where these passports come in.
So each medal is funded.
Not exactly. It really, there is a fund by the government to different sports, based obviously on how well your sport is doing. Based on obviously how your sport is doing, you're given funding for the next year. If your sport is doing shit,
okay.
then your funding will be cut short.
Okay, so it's all about this year and then it goes on to the following year.
So imagine, if the government is spending so much money on sport,
Mm-hmm.
you need something to show for it.
And get back.
Exactly.
And back. You mentioned a very important point, and I've written here some points that the athletes they get are trained in high facilitated places. Now, Malta is working on this situation,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, for example, the Gozo one, the Gozo Aquatics Center,
Okay.
the new one. It was 16 million spent,
Possibly.
and it was expected to be done it was finished this September.
Yes, it was finished a couple of weeks ago.
Wasn't
There
it
was
supposed to be ready months earlier?
Yes, I think there was issues with COVID, obviously, and the Ukraine war, and there are a million and one different situations. But what is important to mention is that in 2025, Gozo finally have an
Aquatic
a
Center.
50-meter Olympic-sized pool.
And if I'm not mistaken, from what I've seen, there's squashing there.
Yes, no, it's a multi-purpose area.
Yeah.
But as in, all right, yes, let's celebrate this. Finally, Gozo have their, but we are, and we cannot deny this. We are, I think, now we are 30, 40 years back.
Wow.
Because other countries like Iceland, like Montenegro, like Cyprus, these have been doing these massive gyms and pools and whatnot for the past 30, 40 years. So we are, in fact, maybe 40 years back. 40 years to exaggerate a little bit.
Are they being used properly?
I think they are. Obviously, I've never been to the gym yet. I've never been to the pool yet.
Let's not focus on the Gozo one.
Okay,
huh?
no.
There's, for example, there's the Marsa track. There's
Let's talk, if we want to talk about athletics, which is my stronger suit. There are two Olympic-sized tracks, okay? There's one in Birkirkara and there's another one at Marsa. Now, the Marsa one has just been refurbished. The St. Aloysius one needs a good refurbishment. The track, the condition of the rubber is in a very poor state. But all athletes prefer to use the Marsa track for the simple reason that the facilities there are much better. So on a given day, you can have people walking around the track, general people really just trying to keep fit, pay their membership, and they walk on lane 8 of the track. Then you have elite athletes, you have grassroots, so the youngest athlete. So at a point, maybe in an entire day, the track can see around 3,000, 4,000 people.
What happens with every sport, Andy?
Yeah, the
For
thing
example,
is this.
the stadiums of football.
The thing
It
is this, how
happens.
can an elite athlete train properly in an environment where he is completely focused on his sport and what he's about to do when a kid is going to cross your lane? You know how many accidents I've seen where kids cross the lane and we were doing blocks and you couldn't, and you sent him flying for around 20, 30 meters. No, it's borderline dangerous. So we need more tracks.
Is there space?
That is another issue. It's really, I'm sure if we had to look properly, yes, we can find space. But then the thing is this: who is going to maintain these areas? When I was president, I used to maintain the track. Sayena Fishnif.
When you say maintain, in what way?
Illallu, clean the toilets, put toilet paper rolls in, soap, fix the sand, clean the sand. So many, the list goes on and on. As in me and the rest of my council used to do these things in our free time. And again, we're talking about athletics. And athletics is considered the largest individual sport on the island. If you had to look at football, where nearly every locality has
Its own club.
its own club and its own facilities, and these need maintenance. Who's maintaining it? Volunteers?
You can't say.
Yeah, volunteers. But are they the people to do it?
Yeah.
So then the question comes into, if you are doing it poorly, how long is the track going to last?
Not too much.
Exactly. And you do it all over again.
How long does it last? Approximately.
If you're not using it well, if you're not using it, then it will last you for enough to warranty. I think it was around 6 to 8 years. But if you had to see it now, it needs to be changed again. It's really in the build-up to the Youth Commonwealth Games in 2027. I really hope that they do change the track.
I came across something, and I'm not too sure if it's true or not, but I'm gonna mention it.
Yeah.
That sometimes training takes place at the horse track.
Yeah, man. Basically, Gosdens don't have an athletics track. They don't have a 400-meter athletics track. They can use a 200-meter track, but imagine you're doing enough long distance training session. How many times you're gonna go around the 200-meter track? So they started to use the race track, the horse race track, and they run on gravel.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is a massive problem that the Gosdens have. So now, all right, I'm sure there's going to be pressure to build an athletics track there. Yeah.
Not the best news, isn't it?
No, but this is the reality of sport.
But do you think it's honestly? Do you think it's culture?
I think it's a million and one different things. It is culture, obviously. Sport on the island is not a money-making business. We know that if something makes money, then people are going to invest. Sport, the only way that and I don't think you can get too much money out of a football club, if I'm honest. So that is something that is lacking. There is government investment. Yes, there is. And there has been, from my time, there is a lot more. There's a lot more investment by the government.
A point that I don't quite agree with.
Okay.
If I'm a president of a club or an owner of a club, let's focus on football because
Okay.
I'm
Go for
football
it, go
player.
for it.
Why should I take on a club to lose money?
And this is something that we don't capitalize on. The Maltese have passion. We love what we do. Okay? So it is enough your village feast, if it is your village football club, if it is, I don't know, enough your car. We have hobbies and we love to do them. And we're ready to do them voluntarily. But I think we've come to a time, again, in sports, where we need to we're really, really, really falling behind now.
A club costs money, so I
Yeah,
don't think it's not for volunteer.
Exactly.
wise. So, and even for example,
No, but
you're
your
paying players
administrators,
good money.
your administrators are all volunteers, and I'm sure of it. They don't earn any kind of income.
But still costs
whatsoever.
money.
Of course, it costs
Maintenance athletes,
Score.
you know.
Yeah. As in, honestly, being an administrator on BAT, shouldn't even go into that. Being an administrator, you start to see the million and one different problems that administrators need to go through day in, day out. I'll give you a silly example. When I was really motivated and I started off, I used to take calls from Monday to Sunday at any time of the day.
Like what? Any time of the day.
I think maybe the latest call I received was around 11:30, 11:45 at night. Sunday, 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning. I'll call or they'll call me and we'll discuss Saturday how we can improve the competition itself. When you're administrator, everything stops. You just focus on your sport completely. And I don't think that administrators are respected enough for it, because have you ever had a burnout? Have you ever had burnout before? Yes. Administrators go through it too. Coaches go through it too. But you guys, in football, you guys are paid, so you can obviously go see a sports psychologist and sort of go through
Is
it.
it enough?
What is? The money?
Yeah.
No, I think if administrators are at least given some kind of stipend, then it would help. But if you want my opinion, there are different initiatives that the government and the MOC come up with. For example, what's called 2020. So you have 20 hours of work and 20 hours of training, which is exactly what I was supposed to be doing at the army. But it's just for athletes. So imagine you're somewhere you are. When you train, do you train on your own?
No.
You have your coach. So imagine I'm going to the track, I need my coach. But my coach needs to go to work. So the 2020, again, is not working. Again, 2020 should be there as well for administrators. So 20 hours of work and 20 hours of administrative work.
On track.
And these are all issues that when there is a lived experience, so when you've been through it, you understand it better.
In real estate, you can either follow the crowd or be coached by the best. Elite is the #1 platform for agents who want more. More deals, more growth, and more leadership. It's not just a real estate agency, it's a launchpad with real training, real support, and a community that pushes you to your peak. If you're serious about becoming an agent, join Elite now and become the agent others chase. Let's get back to the pod. You being a senior team athlete, okay, for the national team, were you ever paid?
No.
No.
And
Senior team?
senior team, which we traveled around the world.
Not paid?
No. And again, you can go to the Olympics and you will not get paid. Basically, what is being done by the MOC is everything is based on refunds. So I go on a training camp and I am refunded for that training camp.
So you pay for your own training camp?
Yes, but then I'm refunded. I go to a competition and I am refunded. Again, everything is based on ability. So if I am a bronze medalist at GSSC, I am given a certain amount. If I'm a silver, a gold, a platinum, whatever, I will be given an amount per year based in refunds. So for example, I can go on 1 training camp and 3 competitions. And this is the way it works across all sports, except football.
Except football. There's a misconception in football, huh? Where I believe I want to hit and target.
Okay.
That all the funds are pushed to football.
No, basically, every time that football, the MFA, come up with some kind of facility initiative, there is a massive misconception that the government gives funds only to football, which is not true. The MFA and all football entities across the world are given funds by their regional bodies. So Malta will be given money by UEFA, and a very, very good amount.
Which is?
Oh, I wouldn't know, but I think it's close to millions.
Okay.
If not more than millions. But again, and this is something that I'd like to mention, and when one of my interviews in my PhD, I made a point of this, like you just did, to one of my interviewees, one of my participants, and he said, "Andy, listen," he said, "this is again misconception. Everyone has it sort of twisted, but everything is relative. So if Malta is making, let's say, 2 million from UEFA, Germany, Italy, UK are making 10s, 20 times much more from UEFA. So again, everything is relative. So in Malta we have this amount, but in other larger countries it's
The best gets
and again,
more.
and in Malta, and I can quote him on this, we receive breadcrumbs in comparison to larger countries.
But I don't think they're mistaken whoever funds, no?
No, again, it's fair because football is the most popular sport in the world. Really,
No, with
there's no
regards to
doubt
with
about
regards
it.
to nations. So
Okay.
I don't disagree that Germany gets more than Malta.
No, definitely, I don't disagree either.
You know, so it's important.
But I think the small states, and I don't have any numbers, the small states, so these 9 countries that I like to compare Malta with, I think they're receiving similar amounts.
Don't you think there's too much jealousy when it comes to different sports here in Malta? So we're not connected to one another. For example, I see a lot of comments on Facebook and on social media that okay, water polo is doing super well.
Yeah.
Maltese water polo is doing super well from grassroots to the senior team level. But they feel like football's getting more importance than water polo.
Yes,
When it comes to funding.
again, another participant of mine in my PhD said basically, listen, we all need to buy in. We all need to buy into what we want. And what he means by it is that everyone has a part to play, from parents to athletes to coaches to the media, which is what I'm coming to. If the media is completely focused on football, and then water polo when there's the summer league and the winter league and maybe a knockout, obviously everyone's going to be biased to football. So when enough they launch something new, all the hate is going to be directed at football, basically.
It's normal, no? But
No, it's normal. It's across the world, ġifieri. Imma in Malta, unfortunately, we have what's called an island mentality, where we are just too focused on what others are doing. In terms of sports, definitely, athletics, illallu. How are the MFA making so much money? They're going to build another stadium. Illallu, water polo, they qualified for the 7th time to European champ. Why are they doing illallu? Look, they got that sponsored. It is.
instead of congratulating one another, it's
Yes,
more of a...
we don't, as a country, we don't know how to work together. It's not, whether it is a lack of communication between different entities or we just don't want to. Ejra kbira bil-Malti ngħidula. But again, we see it everywhere. So we're talking about sports. There's clubs. Or there's not rivalry, ġifieri, like Valletta Floriana, per esempio, derby. You can see it everywhere. You see it in band clubs, gazinijiet, ġifieri festi. It's just something cultural, I guess, and we need to see to it.
But doesn't that make Malta what it is? In a way.
Yes, but it's not something healthy. It is not
Isn't
healthy.
it?
Is
Isn't
not
competition healthy?
It is healthy.
In
No,
many different
definitely,
aspects.
Eva. But there are ways. Let's look at Iceland, okay?
Yeah.
In 2016, when they kicked England out of the Euros, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, I cried like a little baby. Iceland, they have a population of around 300,000. The place is enormous. There are different towns and different localities. They are obsessed with sports. But all sports. So you don't have regions where they are obsessed with football. If I practice football, then my son does something else in another club, or they just love all kinds of sports. They have absolutely no bias to a particular sport or a particular club. And that is something that we lack. That we are just focused on only one thing and one thing alone.
Okay, since you spoke about Iceland and 2016 and what happened, there are only 300,000 in the country, 300,000 in the country.
Around that one.
How do they manage? Like, if you look at what happened and visualize what happened back then, what's the one tactic they used to achieve all this?
It was actually a phenomenon. But people believe that these guys came along just out of nowhere, nothing was done, and they just went all the way to semifinals. It is actually really not even close to what happened. And this is, again, something that we really lack. They came up with a long-term plan. So basically, in Iceland, in the capital, in Reykjavik, there was a massive problem with teenagers drinking and taking drugs and so on. And instead of sending them to prison, they rehabilitated them through sport. These guys were actually very good. Obviously, they have Viking blood in them. So that was one of the first things that they did. They came up with a long-term plan, an elite, a high-level plan, and basically they started building sporting facilities all around Iceland. Now, obviously, Iceland, there's snow. So what they did was they made them indoor. So we're talking about 11 aside indoor stadiums. And this process took around 20 years. So what happened in 2016, those 22 players that most of them were semi-professional, except you have the Chelsea player, I forgot his name, Gudmundsson.
Yeah.
These guys went through the entire process of 20 years. Now what they did was, obviously, a facility is no good without coaches. And they came up with the rule that if you are coaching enough under sevens, you need UEFA level B or UEFA level A. And so they put a lot of different things from all the stakeholders that there are. So they involved absolutely everyone. And 2016, they went all the way to semi-final. But what is important as well to mention is that the handball, Iceland are bronze medalists at the Olympic Games, or silver medalists, but they have medals at the Olympic Games for handball. And it happened to be in 2000 and the 2016, 2012 areas. So basically, these guys had two national teams at the highest level at the same time. So you're talking about 20 athletes or maybe 40 athletes all coming together at the same time. It's not a coincidence. Of the very best. So it's not a coincidence. Everything was planned to perfection.
But it didn't continue.
Yes, I think they do it in long-term periods. So they slowly they choose a group, they slowly start to build up. And this is a problem that we have in Malta, where we have a short-term mindset, a very short-term mindset. And it comes from politics, basically. We have a massive problem with
quick wins.
Yes, quick wins. It comes from basically elections, and we focus entirely on electoral program, which is mostly 5 years, because obviously the policymakers want to show the amount of funds given to the sport. They want something to show for it. So medals, okay? If, let's say, I come up with a new enough high-performance policy that will take us 20 years to do, the guys in charge now will not see the benefits. The guys after me will not see the benefits. But all the accolades and all the glory will be given to the third person. And maybe they don't see that as fair. And this is a massive problem that we have on the island.
Mention a good point, that it's 5 years and it's
Yes,
politics.
yes.
It's true. It's totally true. And I don't think people actually give it much importance when it comes to thinking about it.
Again, it is a lived experience, Luca. As in, you've been it 2023. All the funds were put into 2023 because it's a competition that is organized on the island. We need to build facilities. We need to show what we're doing. 2025, the results were quite poor because administrators were all burnt out. Athletes were all burnt out. Coaches, many of them left. If you had to look at the guys that participated in my PhD study, if I'm not mistaken, because I had quite a number, I had around 12 or 14 people participate. I think only 2 remain involved in sport. So that is a massive problem, which we're not looking into. Because we don't have the data, we don't have the numbers, nobody cares about the numbers, we won the medals and that's it. Yeah, it's a very frustrating situation to be in.
Let's move on to President Andy.
All right.
Okay, and also I'm gonna add this to it. You as a teacher.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna open up with something fun now. So you're president of athletics.
Yes.
Okay, for 3 years, right?
Yes, 3 years.
Proudest moment in that seat.
I think it was the refurbishment of the Marsa athletics track, where we sat down, and I wanted to do it the right way. We sat down with coaches, we sat down with athletes, we sat down with an architect who was an athlete as well and who was a coach, and we designed the track as best as we could, again, for the athletes and for the coaches. Sort of, I think that is my, I wouldn't call it a legacy, but that is, I think, my proudest moment when we unveiled it and everyone liked it. Again, this is where sort of it hurts, because you have to maintain something so big. If you had to go see it now,
I don't think it's the same.
no, it's not. It's a massive place. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Lots of maintenance needs to be done.
The grass area is a mess.
Yes. And that is a massive problem. And it's in a, again, I wouldn't say a poor state, but it is quite
Close.
poor. Yeah.
It's close to being in
Yeah,
that
and this
state.
is after 2 years.
Teacher Andy
Teacher Andy.
versus President Andy, which is closer and real to you.
I used to enjoy my time in the beginning at the school I used to teach at. You guys used to keep me sane, honestly. But towards the end, when my responsibilities as president led me to have to travel.
So you were. I
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. All right.
So
So you were handling both.
I was handling both, yes.
Not easy.
No, I used to get calls during lessons and then have to chase after them and so on. So towards the end of my time as a teacher, I needed to travel a lot. We'd go to European Athletics. We'd have constant meetings with the board of European Athletics. So I'd have to go to Paris. Basically, the management team did not like it, to the extent that once I had to get approval from the ministry to travel, and they still didn't want me to travel. Yeah, so I made a decision to leave.
You used to come to school worse than us.
No, I towards the end I hated it. I couldn't stand looking at you guys. No, again, jokes apart. I would do it because I honestly love teaching. I fell back in love with education.
Do you think PE was given much importance at school? I sat down with Robert Abela, Prime Minister, and he mentioned that he goes around schools and discusses, and many of the schools say that it's once a week. So obviously there's PE option, there's the PE for everyone around school, and we used to only have twice a week. Do you think it should be an everyday situation?
Again, I'm a PE teacher. I've been traveled to different schools. If you are not a teacher and you don't know the lesson load that you have, and you have the facilities, I was in a particular school where we were, I think, 8 or 9 teachers, and we had to share the area. We would take it in turns, and there was a particular corridor I'll never forget, where we had to do our lesson there because there were no facilities. Besides that, the facilities, so not a track, there was like a basketball court, had holes in it. There was a football pitch where 3 teachers had to stay in a 9-a-side pitch. So these are the realities of the situation. So you can say, listen, I want every day all the PE teachers to go out and do one lesson of physics. It cannot work. It cannot work. You have to stay. You have to be in the school. You have to be in the situation to really understand what is going on. And again, because, and this is a reflection of our culture, because kids aren't being active, they're not bothered by it anymore. So I was in a particular school that they wouldn't care less. They wouldn't want to do anything. So I have to go back to the drawing board and start
I think
afresh.
now it could be personal. I don't care, but I think school is back in many different aspects.
No, the school we were at, a lot of athletes came out of that school. A lot of football players came out of that school. Andre Schembri was a Stella Marian. There's Gianluca who plays for Most as well.
Yes, there's more.
There are many. One of my first students from my first Form 5 group, Liam Attard, works at the MFA.
Yes,
There are Stella Maris has been known for encouraging sports. Recently, I'm
And
not too sure.
let's be honest now, the facilities are great. Great. They're okay.
They're okay. They're okay.
There's what to work with.
For the population size, yes.
There's what to work with.
Yes.
Obviously, that needs to be improved, but there's what to work with.
Yes, definitely.
You know, so regarding that situation, I think
Yes, definitely.
What made you hate school, apart from being president and having to handle situations?
I think from when I started,
As a teacher, not as a student.
No, from when I started to the last couple of years, I saw a massive shift in the students' attitude. So, where basically kids would respect you, say sir, say mister, stand up when you walk into the room, don't interrupt when you're speaking, listen, do their homework and all these things. When they're on the first occasion, towards the end, it was the absolute opposite.
I'm laughing because I was towards the end.
Yes,
So
you were no, your group were a tough group. We're a very tough group.
but I think we weren't assholes in a way.
No, you weren't. You were just really like on constant.
More than outgoing.
Yes, but as in, it's a fault of mine that I didn't have enough patience with you guys. I was too much towards the end to have patience.
Love funny. I'm looking back and I remember some moments. It was really funny.
No, President Andy definitely over and over again. But again, you still deal with idiots on a constant basis.
So
whether
if you had
it's
to choose,
if I had to choose,
yes, you can say none of them, huh?
none of them.
Okay,
No.
so what did you go into?
My current job, I'm happy with my current job.
Yeah.
Having to deal with people from really organize, as opposed to sort of dealing with idiots on a constant.
We didn't mention your current job, huh?
Yes,
We skipped it.
Yeah,
Let's go into it.
Go for it. No, basically, I am in charge of education and research at the Authority for Integrity in Maltese Sport.
It's a very harsh topic,
Yes, it
and
is.
it could go on for another hour.
So let me ask you a question, and we'll
Okay. Yes.
send the listeners straight into it. Why do you practice sport?
For passion, you can say, and to keep fit, keep healthy.
Do you do it to enjoy yourself? You enjoy
Yes.
it. You love
Of
it.
course.
Now, I'm going to ask you another question. Would you still practice sport if you knew that the outcome of the match is already done and whatever you do is not going to make
I
it?
don't think it's fair.
But would you still practice your sport?
I would if I know that the game
Right.
is done, I would not go out on the pitch.
Besides that, another question for you. If you had to do anything other than football, let's say you do athletics, okay? And you know that you compete against another 7 athletes, and 2 or 3 of them have an advantage, which is, in this case, it's doping. They're doping. Would you participate? Would you keep on doing it? No.
I would continue training by myself, but not participate in that kind of race.
Because it is not fair. And our job at the authority is to make sure that everyone steps onto the field of play healthy and everything is fair. So everyone starts at the same level. So we tackle anti-doping, we tackle match fixing and competition manipulation. I can tell you the stories.
Give us one story about it.
Oh, no.
One story.
I won't talk about Malta. I'll talk about abroad.
Why not Malta, if I may ask?
Because, again, most of them are situations where we cannot really speak about.
Okay.
But in media reports abroad, Javier, you can hear there are so many different podcasts that you can listen to. And I suggest one particular podcast. And the authority is very intent on bringing this guy over. His name is Moses Swebu.
Okay.
He was in Malta a couple of weeks ago. I went to meet him. He was in when
So you tell me he has to come here?
he's coming here.
But he has to come here?
He
in your
is,
seat?
but no.
Yeah.
So no. But this guy really has a podcast that reached millions of people.
Okay.
It's called Confessions of a Match Fixer, where basically he speaks about how he was approached and what he did and the amount of money he saw and how
Oh, so he was part of it?
He was part of it. Then he was arrested.
Wow. That's sorry,
Anyway,
right.
and I made contact with him, and we're hopeful that he'll come here. I can speak to him
So
now.
he'll be our 30th
Yeah,
episode.
he works with FIFA. He works with FIBA, the Basketball International Federation. Sort of that is one situation that we look into, and then we see how he'll come here, see how we can improve the situation here. We'll speak with the MFA, speak with the police, and this is basically our job.
I don't want to tackle much of it because, as I said, it will take us another half an hour to an hour.
More.
But do you think? Let's focus on, obviously, we're on two different aspects. So you're in athletics and I'm in football.
Yeah.
So we're talking on what you see and what I see.
Okay.
I don't think there's enough in football. I'm being very honest. Like for example, when it comes to under 21 competitions internationally, there
Are
is.
you talking about anti-doping?
Yes,
So
there is national team. Premier League, I've never seen one. When it comes to us,
Okay.
I've never seen one. Never.
The way it works is that it's not just we wake up in the morning and decide. Again, this is not my remit. It's not my department. But I know, because athletes like you ask me, why don't you test the sport more, or why don't you test us more? Basically, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not sharing any secrets. But every sport we know has sort of how can we put this? Run the risk of doping. So, for example, in football, you rarely hear about doping cases, but in sports like swimming, in sports like athletics, long distance running, cross country skiing, these are all at the top of the list. What we do is we run what's called a risk assessment, where there are different columns where we put in different sort of
Sports?
No, not sports, different and 1,000,001 different things. So then we get a risk factor at the very, very end. People at the top will get more tests. People at the bottom will not be getting any tests.
Rarely.
As I think, if I'm not mistaken, football is halfway in the middle. So that is why. Again, testing is very expensive, and obviously.
But it's part of the game. It's not an excuse.
No, it's part of the game, definitely. And we do test. We do test football. We have tested more. Last year we did test more. We carry out tests in competition. We carry out tests out of competition as well, which means that, for example, if you had a football game yesterday, after 11:59 p.m. you are in competition mode. Today, you are not. So in competition, out of competition, the reason why we test, because there are different prohibited substances.
So, for example, I played last night.
Yes.
The game finished around 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
Am I still in competition mode?
No. After post game, you're not.
No.
But if we find something in particular in your, obviously in your urine or in your blood, then it's very hard to prove that it is out of competition or in competition. But there are some substances that are banned in competition. There are others that are banned out of competition as well. And usually there are 1,000,001. There's a WADA's prohibited list is extensive. One should be mindful of the massive amount of things that can go wrong, including product supplements. Do you take any product supplements? Magnesium, protein, powder?
I don't really do, and I think it's a problem.
Trust me, don't.
No?
It's not a problem.
No,
What I'm about to tell you is the reason why. There are a lot of situations across the world that there's a company that makes medicine, and they don't clean their
utensils or something.
Enough utensils, machines properly, and then they go and make enough protein, I'll argument, so everyone can understand. And they don't clean them well, they could be contaminated.
Shit.
You take your protein, you have no idea what's going on, and it's what we call an inadvertent positive case. So you're taking protein, I test you, and you have a trace of steroid. It is not our responsibility to ask you how it got in there. It is your responsibility to know that it should not be there.
And if it's as I said, I don't want to focus too long on it, but if it's a mistake,
you have to prove it's a mistake.
And if it's proven?
If it's proven, then the sanction will be reduced, but the sanction will always remain. Everything is taken by case.
Yeah, of course.
So recently, people have been abusing of this situation, where they find an
It's a
amount
mistake.
of it's a mistake.
Yeah,
But obviously the sort of the traces speak for themselves. If you have a large amount.
of course, makes sense.
But this is another schisma. We
Another
can
story.
speak about it
As I said, yeah.
forever.
Before going on to my favorite segment of the whole entire podcast, what is your actual job? Your
So-
actual job.
No, basically, like I said, it's education and research, which I believe go hand in hand. So, like I said, we have different departments at the authority. So we have anti-doping, we have match fixing and sports corruption, we have good governance and regulatory affairs, we have legal, we're probably going to go into safeguarding now. And my job is to teach all the stakeholders, everyone from parents to media to everyone, athletes obviously, on these things. Obviously, we try and read the room every time we have lectures, but one of the problems that we are facing, in my opinion, is that we have to call and badger people to deliver these kind of lectures. And I think it will soon be time, there'll soon be a time where we'll make it a law, that for you to represent your country, you need to be educated in anti-doping and sports corruption or match fixing and competition manipulation. Otherwise, you will not be representing the country. There are already some sports that basically, if you're going to compete at the European or world stage, you need to go and do an online quiz, which will take you 10 minutes. Is it enough? Definitely not. Most of the time, they get their coach to do it. There is no webcam. Their coach does it for them, and the Grech did so.
Okay.
I think people need to really, really, really understand that what you're playing with is fire. So imagine you've been training your entire life, you make a mistake, like we're talking about this product supplement, or mommy and daddy go and buy you medicine which is on the prohibited list, you take it, you're banned for 4 years. Simple as that. And you have to go through the law, the legal, and the headaches, and I assure you that it is a heartbreak. Worse still is competition manipulation and match fixing,
That's, I think, yeah.
where that there are the law is so, if you don't know it or you don't read it, then you can be caught up very easily. I'll give you a silly example. If you hear about a situation and you don't report within 14 days, you could be going to prison.
Even
And
if you
there
don't,
is
even if you
no-
don't accept.
Even if you don't accept, but you don't report. And who do you report to? You report to the police. You don't report to AIMS, you don't report to the president of your club, you don't report to the MFA, you report to the police. I cannot emphasize this as much as I am doing, because you could be going to prison. And there is no suspended sentence. And the massive fines and
Other
sanction from your
tactics
sport.
to match fixers.
There are plenty. And this is what we do in our lectures. What we do is we identify different ways of how a fixer can approach you, whether it is through social media, whether it is face-to-face. Really, there are a million and one different ways that they can approach you. Really.
Can you give us one?
No, again, social media. Really, if I had to contact you on Instagram, everything is personal. It's just you and me. Nobody
I
can-
don't. So let's say it's, if I'm a match fixer, now I'm thinking like a normal person. Why should I text you on a phone?
And again, I really, really suggest that you listen to Moses Weibu podcast,
Will do.
because the way they do it is so sneaky. And these are really high level fixers that worked with basically criminal syndicates. Really, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure of how they do it, but what we do is we make sure that we cover all areas of the way that someone can be approached, and then hope for the best that people are actually listening and not just staring into space, or just there because their coach made them to.
Quick fire questions.
Go for it.
These are challenging. I think these are the toughest. Not toughest. They're more story based.
I'm ready.
Okay. Number 1. The biggest mistake you ever made as a teacher.
All right. It was towards the end of my stint at Stella Maris. basically I had a free lesson, and I went to play basketball with the boys. This was 1 week before my wedding, and
Oh, shit.
I slipped on the rubber, and I twisted my ankle, and had to go to hospital because my ankle was the size of a football. 1 week before my wedding, so anti-inflammatories and million one different things, to try and get my ankle to fit, my foot to fit into my wedding shoes, and
And you
obviously
managed.
just about. But my wife was not happy.
Next one. All right, good one. The funniest thing you ever saw happen during a sports day.
During a sports day, there was a particular student I'll never forget that he signed up for swimming because it was him leaving school but could not swim.
Huh?
Yeah, he didn't know how to swim, so he didn't. Obviously, he just went out to school, told us, "Listen, I don't swim," and came back. I thought it was really funny. It was hilarious, actually. But he told us at the last, as in he was getting dressed, he was putting on his swimming suit,
No
like,
way.
and then sort of he panicked, and then yeah,
Was there a day, okay, where you said sports isn't for me anymore?
yes. Um, Probably I was still fresh off the injury, so after my degree, I didn't want to do anything related to sport. I didn't want to become a teacher at first. So I did a master's in international business. Nothing to do with sport. Again, I was still hurt, but I ended up doing my dissertation on sport anyway. It was just maybe a couple of months, but no. Not
You were
really.
like, this was for me, and then life changed
Yeah.
again. All right, this is I can relate to this. Wildest parent story as a PE teacher.
I remember there was a particular Parents' Day where the parent came back definitely from a night out. She smelled of sweat, she smelled of alcohol, and everything that I was saying, I was just, the smell from her mouth was making me pass out. It, I probably she spent the whole night in Portugal, and she smelled of sweat. I remember, I'll never forget it. And I said to myself, I remember I took a step back with my chair. Yellow. Horrible experience. What have I got myself into? I had said.
Don't you think the what are they called?
I'm sick and it fall.
The
At
parents'
the end of the
day.
day.
The parents' day. It's always repetition.
Yeah, it's very
So
boring.
like the last 4 years of the last 3 years, my mother never went to a single one of them. They always said the same thing.
If I'm, no, it was really boring for us.
Like
It
imagine
was really boring for us.
you like talking
And
to
then
the
for
same
PE
parent.
teachers, even worse.
What are you gonna say?
Well,
Anyways,
he knows how to run. You know,
he needs to work
he needs
harder.
to maybe, I don't know, he's watch what he eats. So you have to be completely, you have to watch out for what
My
you say.
God, what a
Yes.
waste of time. Anyway. Okay, this could be a bit shaky.
Alright, go for it.
Which decision still keeps you up at night?
Okay. A couple of years ago, when there was when we were coming back from COVID, we had to there's the Malta Marathon, organized usually end of February, beginning of March, most of the time, yeah. And they couldn't agree on it, and basically the Athletics Association, Athletics Malta, we were told that we need to organize it in 3 weeks. Now, we had never organized a half marathon, we had never organized a full marathon, so we had to start from scratch within 3 weeks. Now, these guys have been doing it for I don't know how many years, usually decades, and we had to do it in 3 weeks. It was against my better judgment. I didn't want to be involved in it, unfortunately, and I want to make mention of this. When an association or federation is not self-sufficient, so they cannot really they don't have the funds to pay athletes, they don't have the funds to pay for facilities, and they don't have a say, really. So the people on top they make the decisions for them. The policymakers make a decision for them. Otherwise, your funds are at stake. So, unfortunately, at times you cannot say no. So there is local sport besides football again. There is no autonomy. So we cannot take a decision for ourselves. We cannot self-develop the sport. And these are decisions, and like you said, that kept me up at night, and the reason why I did my PhD in the first place, to uncover these situations.
Okay, last one. One athlete who made you laugh more than they made you sweat.
All right. Long distance athletes. If you are not a long distance athlete, then you will never understand what these guys go through. Just to give you a silly example, the first competition I had, international competition I had gone as president, we had gone for the half marathon championships, European half marathon championships in Poland. And it was my first time with these long distance runners. So if the competition starts, if the race starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, you need to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you need to eat rice and banana. And obviously nobody's going to be open at 4 o'clock in the morning. So these guys will bring up with them a stove, the hot plate, with them in their luggage, and they'll cook the rice. And there was a particular athlete where she forgot to switch it off.
Oh my.
And she left the hot plate on, and I don't she smell, but I don't know if it was smoking and something caught fire and we had to evacuate the hotel. Yeah. But so many stories.
My God. So do I. But yeah, you just sometimes you remember the funny ones, but then there's the funniest that you tend to forget.
Oh, Mushek.
The funniest
Definitely.
are the funniest.
Definitely.
I hate when I forget the funniest. Okay, so there's another segment in our podcast
Yep.
you know about, which is that book right there. That book right there. Gilbert Ajus left you a message, a question. He didn't know you were coming, so it's mysterious. Okay, let's open it up.
Yep.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
I love these, because they're mysterious. I have no idea what I'm gonna
It's
read.
a super good concept.
Okay. Do you consider yourself lucky or unlucky that you were born in Malta?
Wow, perfect. Ever since I was young, I would say, why was I born in Malta? Why so many countries in the world and I happen to be born in Malta? Perfect. I don't know, maybe you love it, but
No. I hear this statement so many times. Why? But I can't. I relate.
you never
So-
had the dream of playing abroad.
Of course. Even in general, just making something successful abroad. If it's football, if it's business, if
Whatever.
it's anything. Making something overseas it's lovely.
Uh-huh.
But what's the why? Since we were young. So is that?
I think it's because I traveled a lot when I was young. Gymnastics, athletics. So every time we'd go abroad and I see these amazing stadiums and I see how organized everything is and how really there's fridges with water. Even those used to blow my mind. Really how absolutely organized, and then you come back home and you say, how can we ever be at that level? What is it going to take to be at that level? And we're not even close. The reality is that we're not even close to being at that level. So that is why I want to go abroad. And then the funny thing is this. When you try and emulate something that the foreigners are doing, they laugh at you and they say, wait, the vintage.
For sure, 2000%. Last question of the episode. Are you happy?
I have learned to put things aside. And I've learned it the hard way, where I learned to prioritize my family more than my work. And this came about when I was so into athletics and so into what is going on and stress and anxiety and all that I forgot what is really important, and that's family. I remember a particular day where I came home, I was exhausted, and my daughter, who was still very young, didn't even recognize me, didn't even realize that I was in the room. And that is when it hit me that, listen, like, you need to absolutely stop. And that is when I stopped. And I started looking for jobs, and then Ames came about, and I wasn't paid to do it. Everything was done voluntarily, so I was juggling my career. I was doing my PhD. I was trying to sort of have a healthy relationship with my wife, trying to raise a child, and then I am being sort of, like, other people were just not taking the piss, and I wasn't getting any money out of it. What was the point? So I called it good. And people called me selfish. I lost many friends along the way because of it. People I thought that respected me at least. But yes, I took the decision for my family and for my mental state mostly.
Can I shake your hand?
I'm sure, yeah. Of course. I would hug you, Javier. The microphone needs to move.
We'll do it after.
Before I end, and probably Athletics Malta, I got you a special gift.
All right.
Okay. So, a lot of your guests bring you national team kits, footballs,
Boxing gloves.
boxing gloves, and I had a massive problem with finding anything. This guy, and I'm holding him. I'm not sure if I want to give him to you anymore. This guy was given to me when I won my very first GSSC medal. So
Special. All right.
So it's special. Should I give it to you or not?
I'll wash him as well if you want.
No, definitely wash him.
No, as in...
No, it's not. Doesn't smell that.
No, as in like take care
So
of him.
that is for you.
You have to sign this for me, yeah?
I'll definitely sign it for you. Again,
What's his name?
I have no idea. You can do whatever you want.
GSSC.
You can. That was for a 4x1 relay. We were winning the relay, and then the Cypriot national team, massive sprinter, very Commonwealth champion, he passed me in the last 2 meters, and we got second because of it. So that guy over there,
Special. He has the like
special.
squeak where he talks or something.
Oh, athletics style, not football. We don't have any money.
Lovely, yeah. Thank you so much. I love this part of the podcast where I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
gifts. It's like every Christmas.
Very stressful. I had to find you a gift. I was gonna buy you a book. And then, this is more heartfelt.
Yeah, I
Thank
love
you
it.
for listening to me. I vented a little bit as well. I feel a little bit better now.
It's therapy. Here's
It
therapy.
is therapy.
It's
It is
therapy. Yeah. You look back at your life and what you've passed through.
And I'm sure that I missed a lot of things that I wanted to say.
Let me tell you what's gonna happen now. You're gonna go home, watch the episode, and say, "I could have said more." For sure, it happens to every guest. So
I
I'm
wanted
sure
to
about
say there are a lot of things that I wanted to say, but I mentioned most of them, but I forgot others. Something that I want to say, and it's very important, is that everyone needs to subscribe.
I thought there was gonna be something else.
No,
Yes.
everyone needs to subscribe.
It's important for us, guys. I'm not asking for much. It's just the button down below. It's red button. Whoever doesn't know, red button. Press it down below. It helps us a lot. Bring guests like Andy and people who want to share their story, their knowledge, and you can place that into your daily routine and life.
Type.
Right?
Super. Thank you so much for listening to me, event.
Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you for being such a great teacher and a great friend.
My
Thanks to
pleasure.
our friend here too for staying with us today.
What are we gonna call him?
Huh?
What are we gonna call him?
Jeff.
Jeff.
And as always, Champions Connect out. Thank you so much. Yes, for sure. I'm gonna wash him. I'm gonna give him a haircut.